How to open a tattoo shop. After 15 years of owning my own tattoo studio, Archetype Tattoo, I'll say it's hard. And there are a lot of factors that I'd like to share with you just to see if this is something even worth your while. First things first, to open a tattoo shop is you need to identify what type of tattoo shop you're going to open. And what I mean by that is, are you going to have a traditional tattoo shop where you have a bunch of tattoo artists working there? Or is it going to be a private studio? This will determine simple things like what part of town you want to be in, what type of visibility you want. So if you're going to have a shop with a lot of tattoo artists, and let's say you're having some younger tattoo artists that are coming up under your shop, you'd want to have a more visible space, somewhere with a lot more foot traffic and cars driving by, to be able to see that shop, to be able to access more walk-in capability. Now, if this is a private studio where it's just you by yourself, well, obviously it doesn't really make a difference. You have your own clientele finding you in your own secluded area. What type of tattoo shop you're going to open will determine the location of where you're going to be opening. Now, also, depending on that location, you have to keep in mind zoning, ensuring that it is a place that you can actually do tattoos in it, and finding the appropriate landlord. If you're going to rent, finding a location that's savvy with having a tattoo shop around. I've seen folks try to open tattoo shops get shut down by the neighbors just because they don't want that element there. So it's always important to ensure that you're finding a location that accommodates the style of tattoo studio you have, but also is surrounded by synergistic businesses that would make sense for your tattoo shop to be there. Well, you're always going to need your business license. You're going to go to your city business planning, where they'll go through zoning, you'll go through the fire department, you'll go through all the rigmarole of getting that business license. But depending on your state, you may require a tattoo shop license or an establishment license, where you will have to go through a regulatory body to identify the requirements of your studio. Some states require a specific square footage per booth area. You have to have so much space per tattoo artist and client. And in some states like New Mexico, you actually have to have a partition in between each operating tattoo booth. There's a requirement of appropriate lighting. Typically, we'll require a hand washing station per 3 artists that is dedicated specifically to hand washing, not using the bathroom as your hand washing station. And if you're reusing or sterilizing an equipment, you will require a sterilization area, which also would have a disinfection area as well. So those are some key things to keep in mind. And then, of course, you'll have to have whatever regulatory body in your area come out and do an inspection on your area to ensure that it's up to code. A couple of the logistics: if you're going to have a shop that's going to have a lot of foot traffic, you want to make sure that you have a nice lobby area, a space that they can congregate in between tattoo sessions, a place that you can also dedicate it to eat food. It's pretty gross to eat a cheeseburger and do a tattoo at the same time. Also having a space dedicated to managing all the logistics of business. So a place to pay your bills, a place to keep your taxes, a place to keep your receipts, a place to do the general day-to-day operations of ordering supplies and such. You're also going to have maybe a front counter area where you would hopefully have somebody there to meet and greet your clients, to be able to check them in, as well as be able to manage incoming emails and phone calls and social media inquiries and DMs and such. Then, of course, you want to have appropriate signage. I highly recommend as much natural lighting as possible. It's just better with our eyesight. It's better with our circadian rhythm, and it also leads to less stressed eye strain during the tattoo process. You can get into the different intricacies of owning a tattoo shop, the difference between being a tattoo shop owner and having contractors work for you. And then there's having employees at your tattoo shop and all the responsibilities of being an employer: payroll, taxes, social security, supplying all the supplies. There's the collective, where everyone generally helps the burdens of the overhead and any of the supplies or marketing or anything. Or you could just have a tattoo shop where you just rent out booths to different tattoo artists, which makes it pretty easy. It's so important that you find the appropriate artists to work in your space, because even though they are operating their own individual business within your space will take on the brunt of any sort of negative reputation that artists could put forth. So it's so important that those who are working within your space have a unified mind and are ethically sound. And then there's always the private studio. There's very little interaction. It's definitely pretty lonely. And being a tattoo artist, it's so important and it's so beneficial to engage with other tattoo artists for the creative process, to glean insights, information, knowledge, make it better. If you're all by yourself, your clients are always going to tell you you're awesome, but your peers who are going to look at that artwork and say, "And are you sure you're happy with that?" And so private studios have their pros and cons in that way too. But that's just scratching the surface of owning a tattoo studio. And I have met some amazing tattoo artists that can just lay down some amazing tattoos that are world renowned. And then they open a tattoo shop. And after a decade of owning a studio, just wishes that they just worked for a tattoo shop owner so that we could just come tattoo and then go home and not have to worry about all the other rigmarole on top of owning a tattoo shop. Because if you are a tattoo artist and you do want to open a tattoo shop, just no mysteries and no illusions. It's two different jobs. Tattooing, maintaining your clients, marketing yourself, and doing that, which is a job in itself, is totally different than owning and operating a tattoo studio that requires, of course, paying for the overhead, maintaining the space, supplying employees if you have employees, marketing, promotion, events. Just make sure it's something that you really want to do. Hopefully some of this information was helpful. It was a lot, of course. Ultimately, the goal is to help people create more ethical, professional studios moving forward. It'll be beneficial for everyone in the industry as a whole as our reputation continues to go up and more people get tattooed. Thank you so much for your time.